Hi, Greg Stewart, Maizex Seed. So it's late February. We're pushing the season a little bit. Wind's not too bad. Snow's melting, making me think about spring, making me think about nitrogen management in corn. We've had an interesting winter. Some good speakers up from the States talking about nitrogen management. Gave a presentation with Dr. Bill Dean from the University of Guelph and looking at nitrogen management there. And it sort of comes down to a cool conclusion that, that you need rainfall data, or at least you will need rainfall data in order to make good decisions around nitrogen management. So I propose to you if you've seen me present a little bit on nitrogen, I give you a case study where a guy puts 135 pounds of N down. This would be for a corn after soybeans, thinking he's going to get about 210 bushels per acre. Puts 135 pounds of N down in or around planting time. That's a number that gives him some flexibility in terms of what the future rates should be, but he's pretty sure that it'll carry him right through to tassel time if he decides to delay that long for his top-up rate. So he's got 135 pounds down up front. I would suggest to you that his key decision in terms of top-up rate is whether it's a year where he needs no more N, so a 0, maybe an average year where he might need another 40, or maybe a year where he needs another 80 pounds of N top-up. So the interesting thing this winter in terms of discussing around nitrogen is that if you have some rainfall data, you can do some assessments as to whether that top-up rate should be 0, 40, or 80. Bill Dean had a neat little equation from his long-term trial at Elora, which essentially said if you had that 130-ish pounds down up front, that the extra nitrogen you needed was fairly tightly tied to how much rainfall you got in that V7 to tassel time. So that's intriguing. It was particularly intriguing when the American speaker came up, Dr. Mac Bean, that he said essentially the same thing about loam soils, right? That rainfall may be a driver, but not rainfall in the early part of the season, but only rainfall that occurs in that sort of V7 to VT, or knee-high to tassel corn. So moving forward, thinking about nitrogen in the future always gives you more opportunity to make money on nitrogen if you don't put down excessive amounts or really high amounts up front. It's difficult if you put down 195 pounds up front, difficult to think you're going to make much money by changing your top-up rate. Bring your early ends down to that 135 range and give yourself some flexibility. In a dry year, perhaps to put no more N down, and in a wet year, perhaps to put another 80 down. So moving forward, a really good thing to look forward to this 2019 season would be get rainfall data for every cornfield you've got. That might mean gauges, but probably more likely it means getting signed up with a supplier of rainfall information like Climate Field View, where you could get rainfall data for each of your cornfields and then start to do some assessments, even if it's just gut check assessments as to whether those fields need, an extra 40 or 80 pounds of N. At any rate, all the best to you in nitrogen management in 2019, and until we get around to our next version of Maizex Moving, have a safe day.